receiving an honorary diploma tonight. So I'm going to just read it, and then I'm going to ask this East High grad to say a few words. East High School. This certifies that Stanford Hill, having met the criteria as determined by the Franklin County Veterans Services Office, is declared a high school graduate and is hereby entitled to this honorary diploma given by Columbus City Schools on this 18th day of December in the year 2018. So, Mr. Hill, congratulations, and I'd like you to share a few words if you'd like to with the board.
This is a very good day for me. It's something that I've tried several times to do, and I finally got it, so I can take it off my book now. And being 72 years old is a good thing to have.
Yes, and so, Mr. Hill, thank you very much, and thank you for your service. I'd like to ask you and your family to come up front. We're going to take some photographs, if you don't mind. Board members, if you wouldn't mind, let's join Mr. Hill right up front here.
Yeah, I was going to say, let him come this way.
He's like, my wife's here.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Colleagues, I'd like a motion to approve.
So moved.
3.1.
Second.
And seconded. Hearing no discussion. Mr. Treasurer. Mr. Ragland, and I believe the Vice President, Mr. Reyes. Whichever one you heard first. Please call the roll.
Thank you. Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Combs?
Yes.
Ms. Gibbs?
Yes.
Mr. Ragland? Yes. Ms. Reyes?
Yes.
President Baker?
Yes. Motion carries.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. All right.
Drifted off for a moment.
Mr. Hill, I want to congratulate you again on behalf of the board and thank you for your service. Mr. Hill is a Vietnam veteran, so thank you and congratulations. And you and your family are welcome to stay for the entire meeting, but if you would rather be somewhere else, we will understand.
Sure.
Thank you. All right, let's move on then to item 3.2. And this is a bittersweet one. And I'm going to ask Ms. Anne-Dory Lanzati to come to the podium. And bring your son up with you. And I'm going to ask the Vice President to read a resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's so much of an honor to be able to present this to you this evening. This is recognizing Ms. Anne Dorian Lanzati for nearly 15 years of service to Columbus City Schools. Whereas Anne Dorian Lanzati has demonstrated her commitment to public service throughout her career, holding positions at the Office of Auditor of State, the Ohio State University, and at Columbus City Schools. And whereas Mrs. Lanzati has demonstrated her commitment to education, serving as a member of the faculty at Franklin University and Ohio Wesleyan, as the Director of Real Estate for Ohio State University, and as Director of Real Estate for Columbus City Schools. And whereas Ms. Lanzati improved the district through the establishment of the Real Estate Department at Columbus City Schools, the creation of innovative partnerships through shared use agreements bringing pre-kindergarten services, healthcare services, and Columbus Metropolitan Library into district facilities, and the successful brokering of sales of surplus real estate, generating more than $72 million for the district for use on its remaining infrastructure. Please clap for that. Thank you for that. And whereas Mrs. Lanzati has announced her retirement from Columbus City Schools effective January 25th, 2019, after having served the district for nearly 15 years. And whereas Mrs. Lanzati embodies the spirit of success that is Columbus City Schools. Now therefore be it resolved that the Columbus City School Board of Education hereby recognizes Ann Dorian Lanzati for 15 years of dedicated service to the students, families, staff, and the Board of Education here at Columbus City Schools.
Mr. Treasurer?
Vice President Cole.
Yes.
Ms. Gibbs.
Yes.
Mr. Ragland.
Yes.
Ms. Redd.
Yes.
President Baker.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Now let's clap.
For the last time, President Baker, Vice President Cole, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Stanford. First of all, I just want to say I feel blessed to have been able to spend almost 15 years of my career in real estate, serving the Columbus City Schools community, and knowing that every dollar I made or every agreement that I negotiated and brought to you in some way helped to benefit the children and the families of this community. And that's really a great way to be able to go to work every day. I appreciate all my colleagues and board members and the community members and the business community that I've worked with over the years. So my son Patrick here was just 6 years old when I started. His brother, who's studying for high school finals, is 16. He was 2. So they've grown up while I've been here and shared this journey with me. I guess in parting, I would like to recognize two of my most significant inspirations, and those are my parents. Both my mother and father retired from public service. My father as a public servant, county commissioner, but he also was a bricklayer and a real estate broker. And so you can see where I get some of that. And then my mother was a teacher and an artist. And so in my journey here at Columbus City Schools, I've got to have the opportunity also to kind of fulfill a part of what their journey was in the teaching and the public service and the real estate. So my father retired at a young age and went on with his real estate brokerage. So hopefully I'll be able to make them proud with real estate and art.
And we'd like to ask you to come up front for a photograph.
on. Come on.
Mr. Cole, do you mind stepping in? One more other, yep, thank you, perfect. Try to get everybody. Couple here. Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Ann, for your years of service. I was going to vote no on that one, but decided not to. I told Ann once if she were working in the private sector, she would have earned some pretty heavy bonuses for all the good hard work she did for the district. So, but thank you for your years of public service. There's nothing better than the good feelings you get from knowing that you are serving the public and the sacrifices that you make to do that are more. Thank you. Let's move on then to public comment. And we do have a number of speakers. We have actually 6 this evening. So just briefly, each of you will have 4 minutes to speak. I'll call your name and I'll ask you to approach the podium. You'll see a timer behind you that will count down your 4 minutes. I would ask that you do conclude within 4 minutes if at all possible. And if you go over, I'll let you know. So our first speaker this evening, Laura Kogan. Topic, Facilities Task Force recommendations. Board action provide more clarity regarding their previous decision. Ms. Kogan? Good evening. Welcome back.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, President Baker, Vice President Cole, Treasurer Bohorik, Internal Auditor Smith, members of the board, and Interim Superintendent Dr. Stanford. I am back today to offer additional clarity regarding the proposal to relocate Dominion Middle School. Let's go over the basics. One of the few vital responsibilities you have as a school board is to hire a competent and qualified superintendent who handles the day-to-day district operations, including hiring competent and qualified district staff. The district staff are on the front lines, working day in and day out, gaining a firm grasp of the needs of each individual school. Furthermore, the facilities task force was also assembled under the direction of the superintendent. And I recently learned that it was the district staff who presented the idea of the Dominion Plus plan, which includes moving Dominion to the Old North Building, to the facilities task force. So to be clear, the superintendent you selected hired the district staff that presented the Dominion move idea to the facilities task force, which remember was also assembled by the district, who went into the community to solicit feedback regarding the move. After using data, facts, and community feedback, they made this unanimous recommendation to you. And you have now spent over a month avoiding any discussion about the recommendation. Now, I've heard some of you say that the delay has been driven by the availability of Dr. Dixon, who you believe needs to be a part of this process. However, it's worth remembering that she had the option of beginning her position as superintendent here full-time and has chosen to not do so until the end of the academic year. I'm sure she had a lot of reasonable reasons for this decision, but I don't think it's fair or reasonable that the district schedule important, time-sensitive decisions around her limited availability. I'm also deeply disappointed to hear about the resignation of board member Hudson. Even more concerning, though, was her candid resignation letter that left me feeling uneasy. Describing the way in which, quote, bare majority decisions are reached by the school board, she states that many of these decisions are based upon, quote, personal interests, raw emotion, and concerns of small but vocal groups, end quote. I couldn't agree more with her sentiment. School board members should not base major policy decisions on the whim of a small but loud group of parents. Instead, they should hire a qualified superintendent who hires qualified staff, who assembles a task force to weigh district staff proposals with broader community feedback, and in turn presents its recommendation to the school board. In other words, board members should look at data, facts, and community feedback when making major decisions. And while I'm not sure how the size of our group would be classified, we certainly have been vocal over the last several board meetings, using the public comment time as a platform in our attempt to hold you accountable. But not because I woke up one morning and thought, I know how to solve the Dominion overcrowding issue, the emergent exodus, and fill 2 underutilized buildings to get us one step closer to more state funding, and assembled some people to come down here and tell you what to do. It's because you hired a qualified superintendent who hired qualified staff who assembled a task force to weigh district staff proposals with broader community feedback and in turn presented its recommendations to the school board. And now we expect you to follow through with the process you yourself had set in motion. So I ask you, please consider moving up your work session so you can get the ball rolling on this issue.
Thank you, Ms. Cohen. Are there questions, clarifying questions from board members for Ms. Cohen? Mr. Brown?
Glad you added the word clarifying.
Yes.
Ms. Cogan, I just want to thank you again for being here and for continuing to advocate on the issue. I agree with nearly everything you said. The start date for Dr. Dixon, I understand, will be March 1st, rather than the end of the school year. And at least from my perspective, I'm not aware that, and this is something that I want to clarify, that the delay was attributed in any way to her, but the rest of what you had to say, I appreciate.
I mean, it's been explained to me that that is where there was some scheduling conflicts, and you guys had to push it all the way to the end of January.
Well, January 23.
Are there clarifying questions, board members? Thank you, Ms. Cohen. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Professor Vladimir Kogan. Topic, District State Report Card Board Action Requested. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry, Professor. I got ahead of myself. I beg your pardon. Darcy Oaks is our next speaker. Topic, Facilities Task Force Recommendations, Board Action Requested. Reconsider the Facilities Task Force Recommendations.
Good evening, President Baker, Vice President Cole, Treasurer B, Internal Auditor Smith, members of the board, interim Superintendent Dr. Stanford. My name is Darcy Oaks, and I'm a parent of a child in a school in the Columbus City Schools District. I wish to speak to a recommendation moving the overpopulated Dominion Middle School to the under-enrolled North High School site. My broad message is that inaction on this issue speaks loudly, and that this inaction has implications. That transparency with stakeholders and constituents and each other is required given this issue. Seven months were devoted to the task force. Qualitative and quantitative data were gathered, community and neighborhood feedback collected. The task force assembled its report, the task force presented its findings, yet the recommendations were not given the attention or the deliberation necessary, so I want to say a few words about that. The move of Dominion to North would be utilitarian in that it is one that would produce the greatest good for the greatest number. The recommendation of moving Dominion to North follows this philosophy. The move of Dominion to North would be fiscally responsible for a variety of reasons. Solving the overcrowding issue with the use of portables and modules is wasteful, might require a zoning review, and to use portables and modules goes against the current strategic plan. Having facilities only partially filled and under-enrolled is clearly wasteful. The recommendations of moving Dominion to North is fiscally sound, especially when compared to doing nothing. The move of Dominion to North would promote equity for a variety of reasons. The neighborhood school should be located near the center of the boundaries it serves. Currently, the school is located in the extreme northern higher SES neighborhood. The proposal would bring the location to a very central to the feeder neighborhoods. The proposal keeps the diverse feeder pattern of Dominion, which is very important. Having partially filled buildings while others are overflowing is not equitable. Students should have equal access to facilities and classrooms. Student-teacher ratios should be within comparable acceptable ranges. The recommendation put forward by the task force moves towards fulfillment of these aspects of equity. The press has reported that board members believe that the district should concentrate on academic gains at the expense of all other issues to ensure the state won't take control. Comments at recent board meetings indicate the same. I would argue the board can walk and chew gum at the same time. Facility issues are learning issues. Solving the capacity issue will help solve our district's grade card problems. This inaction about capacity, overcrowding, and under-enrollment has implications, and transparency with stakeholders and constituents and collaboration with each other is required by your charge. From my perspective, this board has stifled deliberation about the specific recommendation. From my perspective, the problem of some schools being overpopulated and other schools being under-enrolled must be addressed in a timely manner. The board's lack of action in this regard has consequences. The lack of deliberation on overpopulated and under-enrolled schools is pressing. Number one, students and their families can't plan for the future. They can't plan if they want to move to a particular neighborhood. They can't plan for the lotteries they want to apply to. They can't be sure of a predictable path in school. Number two, the time passing allows other issues to arise. For example, the feeder pattern letters to the press and other such conversations, both formal and informal, not helpful conversations. The board has been asked to pledge to keep the feeder pattern to Dominion, but the board has not made that pledge. One byproduct of this board's inaction is allowing space for this unhelpful dialogue in the community that the feeder pattern could be broken up. Volunteerism and other expertise may evaporate or weaken. The task force was together for 7 months and the work was not given its care due. This board should cherish and use the expertise and volunteerism. It seems the board may wish to leave the impression that it does cherish some work, yet the lack of deliberation, especially public deliberation regarding the proposal, demonstrates that the work of the task force was not given due respect.
Mr. O?
Yes.
Time is up.
Thank you for your time. I fully believe the board intends to do its best to fulfill the educational needs of the children of the district. Hear my plea that inaction on the capacity problem is taking a toll.
Thank you.
I ask the board to consider the task force recommendation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, I'd like some clarification on when the deadline is for the alternative schools lottery.
Different dates for different grade levels, I'll look them up and
I'm sorry, could that be repeated, please?
I said there are different dates for different grade levels, I'll look them up and get them to you immediately.
Okay. All right, should we go right to it? Other clarifying questions for the speaker, board members? Okay, hearing none. Thank you very much, Mr. Oaks. Appreciate the time you took. And now, Professor Cohen. Topic, District State Report Card, Board Action, articulate a clear plan for improving the effort on the progress section of the District State Report Card. Welcome back.
Thank you. Good evening and happy holidays. President Baker, Vice President Cole, welcome back in that room. Treasurer DeHort, Internal Auditor Smith, members of the board, and Superintendent Stanford. I'm glad to see that you're feeling better. So over the past 2 months, you've seen key presentations on efforts to improve the district's tech rating. And today I want to speak about the progress section of the report card, which has been largely overlooked in the presentation today. My argument is that this is the section that we as a community and you as the board should care most about. Unfortunately, most of the metrics appearing on the state report card are affected by factors over which the district has no control, including student socioeconomic status. The progress section, which tracks how the performance of individual students changes from one year to the next, is really the only measure that directly accounts for these and isolates the quality of the education that CCS students receive in the classroom. And here, the district has a lot of work to do. In each of the past 3 years, the district has received an F on the value added rating, which means that the average student left school in June with less than a year's worth of learning gains. And my message to you today, to be blunt, is that this is unacceptable and it must change. Last year, 70% of CCS elementary schools posted less than a year of academic growth. Most troubling, the schools posting largest gains enrolled disproportionately white students, while the schools where students fell further behind were disproportionately black and poor. And to illustrate the stakes involved, I want to focus very briefly on just one school, Windsor in South Linden, where 84% of the students are African American and 90% receive government assistance. Windsor has the unfortunate dishonor of being one of 2 CCS elementary schools that not only fell short of a year's growth overall, but also in each and every tested subject and grade level. Most of the students who attend Windsor live in the school's attendance area. So it is deeply troubling that housing affordability also constrains the educational opportunities available to these kids. Later life outcomes for kids who grew up in the areas served by Windsor in the 1980s and 1990s are heartbreaking. Most now live in families with income in the bottom third of the national distribution. More than half of the girls gave birth by the age of 19. And for men, 1 in 10 was incarcerated on April 1, 2010. And you heard that right, we're incarcerated on that date. To be clear, our schools do not deserve sole blame for these tragic outcomes. But the statistics do make clear why the children in South Linden cannot afford to attend a school that allows them to fall only further behind, as Windsor currently does. What can be done? Well, there are elementary schools in CCS, like Salem, that serve similarly disadvantaged student populations and yet make regular gains. And I urge you to look at them as models and ensure that their effective practices are adopted in every building. But there are also deeper issues to be tackled at the district level. In 2014, the National Council on Teacher Quality found that Columbus had one of the worst rates of teacher absenteeism in the country. Since then, teacher absenteeism in the district has only worsened. According to the most recent federal data, chronic absenteeism, which means teachers absent for more than 2 weeks per year, is worse in Columbus than in any other urban Ohio district. CCS has 13 elementary schools where over 70% of the teachers missed more than 10 days in 2016. In 29 elementary schools, the average teacher missed more days of class than the average student. As you continue with your efforts to avoid state takeover, I urge you to focus on improving the district's value-added rate and tackling issues such as chronic teacher absenteeism and health determinant. For kids like those being educated at Windsor, local control is of little value if it simply means an education that leaves them further behind and further down. Thank you.
Are there any clarifying questions, Mr. Brown?
Just briefly, I appreciate everything that you had to say, and there was a lot of information in there. Just wonder whether you have a written version.
You should have it, I hope. It has some nice color graphs in there for you as well.
Yes, I'm the same.
Yes, yeah, and it has a nice listing at the end with every elementary school.
Great.
Overall rating by grade level
Okay.
subject.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other clarifying questions? Yes, Mr. Ragland.
Yes. Can we internally verify the data on teacher absenteeism? That is astounding to me. I'm asking Dr. Chamber.
And if I take some time, I'm happy to send the files that I got from ODE, from the federal government, to the staff if you'd like to, if they'd like. I'm sure they can find themselves as well.
Any other clarifying questions from board members for Professor Cody? Ms. Gibbs?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question. Was the administration going to get back with the verification of the data to the board? Okay. One more.
Yes, ma'am.
And thank you again for joining us, which, while controversial, not underscores our desperate attention to our academic status. Can you just tell us one more time, again, what action are you requesting, or did you have specific solutions?
Sure.
Or are you drawing attention to this?
Well, thank you for asking that. So I think what I'm asking is for a plan that focuses on the value added. And what prompted me to make these comments is I think the last couple of times you had presentations with a report card, and I saw slides with schools highlighted that were 0.35 points away from the higher grade with words we can do it. And I hope that's not your focus. I hope it's not focusing on kind of bubble schools and marginal improvements. I hope the focus is on the value added and on growth from year to year for all students at all schools.
Thank you so much. That clarifies.
Thank you, Professor Cody. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Stephen Hardwick. Topic: how to best use two-faculty high buildings to provide the best education for the children of CCS. Board action: please don't squeeze kids from North Linden, South Clintonville, University area, and Wyland Park into modular when there is a half-empty high school just down the street. Mr. Hardwick, good evening.
Good evening. President Baker, Vice President Cole, Treasurer Bohorak, Internal Auditor Smith, members of the board, Interim Superintendent Dr. Stanford. I'm going to start by talking about, I think, one of the more important issues with this is how to make sure that we respect the immersion programs and the language programs. And throughout this whole program, in all the months I've been involved with this, I have not heard a single program, a single class that any of the language programs have right now in grades 6 and 7, and 5, 6, 7, and 8, that they would not be able to have under this merger. And one thing I would suggest is, if the board is concerned that the kids from the programs, especially I understand Spanish immersion kids have some, parents have some specific issues, is that before this board meets is to give the principals of those schools, because you have some absolutely awesome principals of the school, of the language programs and at Dominion, give them the chance to work together to come up with a plan that shows how that school can work with, and also respect the wishes and the needs of all the kids who will be attending there, including Spanish immersion and Hubbard and Acole Kenwood. Because one thing I thought was awesome about this program is I thought, for everything I can tell, is they would get the same programs they have now, plus access to the broader curriculum that Dominion has, plus a more rich math classes, art classes possibly. But the one reason I didn't worry about the details as much is because I knew that you had an awesome staff and that they would have 2 years to work it out, or at least a full year to work it out, and they would be able to do it, and they would be fair, because we're not supposed to mention names, but the principal of Dominion, who I've heard over and over again, she's a very fair person. She's not going to let any kid in her school fall behind. She's not going to disrespect any kid in her school. And also, as I said, I'd also like to talk to someone about the modulars. And your 5-year, I've had both this administration and the prior administration tell me they had, quote, safety concerns about the modulars, and also they're really super expensive. And if you have 2 administrations saying there's safety concerns, I think you should take that to heart. And that's the reason why this body and the school district decided to eliminate them in its 5-year plan. That's why the kids at Northgate and Woodward Park are no longer going to that. Plus, I did check, and I do a lot of zoning, or if you did put modulars on the property, you would trigger a zoning review of the entire property, including the existing building. And it turns out the existing building is not conforming. Right now it's grandfathered. If you put a single modular down there, it's not grandfathered anymore. You have to go through the whole process, including area commissions, to do that. And I'm going to conclude where I started with the statement, which is there's something really wrong with requiring kids from Wineland Park, kids from Como, kids in the university area, to put them in a bus to drive them past a school that's half empty right now, that's under half capacity, and send them to a school miles away with modulars. That's just wrong, that's not right. This program, this plan, gives the opportunity for the language immersion kids and for the kids at Dominion to have the space they need to have an excellent school with excellent leaders, excellent teachers, and kids that learn. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there clarifying questions from board members, Mr. Hardwick? Thank you very much for coming down. We appreciate it. Our next speaker, Jeff Dew, topic, Dominion Middle School move to Columbus North International. Board action, consider moving Dominion Middle School to Columbus North International. Good evening.
Good evening. President Baker, Vice President Cole, Treasurer Board, Internal Auditor Smith, members of the board, and Interim Superintendent Dr. Stanford. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today. The last time I was here, I pledged the support of Clintonville Go Public to the move of Dominion Middle School to North High International. Since I last spoke, there have been many developments. First and most importantly, I want to commend this board for promising to keep the current Dominion Feeder School path intact. As our community looks closer at what this school move could mean for our children, one question persists. What options are you considering other than moving the school to alleviate the overcrowding? Since this is the last opportunity I have before the work session to talk to you, if you are thinking about installing portable classrooms at Dominion, I must speak out against this option. I've spent the past 2 weeks learning as much as I can about portable classrooms. I've had conversations with parents, teachers, school administrators, and law enforcement. In these discussions, the mere mention of portables triggers audible groans, eye rolls, and head shaking. The The most concerning conversations are the ones I have had with police officers and law enforcement. Unfortunately, we live in a time where our sons and daughters practice lockdown drills. When my daughter describes these drills to me, they sound like active shooter exercises. These drills expose the greatest dangers of portable classrooms. Some school districts use resources to fence in their portable classrooms to create a safe perimeter. Others install security cameras to ensure their children's safety. And many examples exist where school districts intended to have portables as a temporary solution, but end up needing them longer than originally planned, and they become permanent. I'm not going to stand here and say everything I have read about portable classrooms is bad. I will concede that state-of-the-art portable classrooms are used effectively in some school districts to alleviate overcrowding. Ideally, their use would coincide with the building of a new school. The state-of-the-art units can cost upwards of $200,000 to ensure air quality, ADA accessibility, durability, and security. My position is that it is unreasonable to devote these financial resources when a cost-effective, innovative, and safer alternative exists. These views on portable classrooms are not anything new to the board or to the district. I recently read through the draft of the 5-year strategic plan prepared in the fall of this year. A few things resonated with me. Like the first part of goal number 2, the district creates safe, student-centered, innovative learning environments. And mentioned in priority 2, safe and secure environments for all students and staff. Lastly, feedback given in the listening tour dating back to 2014 in the infrastructure and operations section on page 7 asked that modular classrooms be eliminated. Ultimately, you and your vote determine the direction we go. I know this is not going to be easy. I hope that as you continue your research, you will consider these arguments. Good luck, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Dew. Are there clarifying questions, Mr. Dew? Member Gibbs.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the continual support of Clinton Biblical Public and all the time and energy that your entire team puts together for that community. I just have a clarifying question for administration, 2 of them. First question, clarifying question, do we have any modulars left in the district? I know Wilbur Park had a whole modular city going on for a while. But do we still have modulars left that are still being used at some of our schools? That is a yes. Do we know how many modulars that we still have? Can you get that for us by the end of the meeting? Look at it for us. Thank you. I'm looking at Mr. Alex Trevino. I would call on Dr. Stanford, but he would call on Alex, and Alex is just basically giving us a nod and answering questions for the viewers and listening audience. We are just out the room, and Alex is looking at it right now. And secondly, to the administration, and just for a point of clarification, in the original recommendations, how much time did we allot to study this recommendation and the other recommendations before we implemented the solution?
Mr. President, to Ms. Gibbs, about 1 year. The implementation of the program would not have occurred until the 2021 school year. Yes.
So we are still within that 1 year time that in the original recommendations, we would have studied anyway to come up with a solution. So, okay, I just wanted to make sure we were clear that we weren't going to come up with a final solution of how it was going to work for at least a year. And so we just asked, we're going to start deliberating in January 23rd to think about, how this would all work and be able to understand it better, right? Which is how we're going to start. But it wasn't supposed to start next school year anyway.
No, because, because as everyone has talked about, there are a lot of different questions that would have to be answered with a unique program like this. And we also felt very strongly, and the committee felt very strongly, that having the principals, the teachers, and the communities involved in answering those questions was the best route to go with a unique program like that.
So we're getting started. That helps me understand better. And just as a point of clarification, did someone share or did someone from the district tell you that we were putting in modulars? Because we as a board haven't decided anything. We're gonna start talking January 23rd.
Yeah, I guess I have not heard really, just kind of without a response from you guys, without the discussion, we're sort of guessing at this point, you know, what you guys are trying to do. So we're trying to, you know, voice our opinions and kind of give you feedback based on, you know, what we think you guys might do. So that's kind of where we're coming from at this point.
Thank you so much for that. We just really want to iterate for a point of clarification. We haven't decided anything. We just gave Mark set of questions, the questions we have, but we have not said modulars. We have never, no recommendation from the board or anyone else said to disassemble the feeder pad. Like, it's funny that in the absence, people create all kinds of conversations, but I just want, as a point of clarification, say that this board is not taking any action other than saying we want more information. So, but we always, I'm so thankful for the Clintonville board for looking and continue on advocacy. You, Southside State, and our other peer groups that really help keep us on our toes and let your voices be heard. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gibbs. Mr. Vice President, you have a clarifying question from the speaker.
Thank you all so much for coming to speak to us, but especially Mr. Duke. I appreciate your comments. You mentioned safety, public safety. Can you unpack what the police shared with you, what public safety professionals shared with you?
Sure. I work for the City of Hilliard, so I had a conversation with the deputy director, and there's a number of different issues when you look at portables and specifically when you're talking about active shooters. The ideal situation is you are in a building that is locked down so that they don't have access. So when you have students that are have to use the bathroom and they're walking out to go with other students, or they're pairing them up, or however they're handling that, there's a number of different kind of problems or obstacles when you specifically talk about when you specifically talk about those modular units. And when you have an active shooter out in the open, that's another issue in itself. So they really, the professionals that I spoke with, preferred that those not be, implemented. And there's a number of examples that I came across online where school districts essentially recognized that, and then they had to take steps and use more resources to put up fences and install security cameras and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot of issues just with getting in and out of those portable classrooms as far as the safety of the students.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Duke? Thank you very much for taking the time to us this evening. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Welcome. And our last speaker is actually Dr. Mark Lomax, and I'll ask him to come to the podium, please. Topic: recognition of Dr. Lomax as it relates to Wexner, and board action to acknowledge the significance of the Wexner Center Artist in Residence Award. And I know that you were honored at honors and recognitions, and so we know that you're a district graduate.
I am.
And so go ahead, and the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. I just had a couple of things that I wanted to share with this body. One, thank you for the Spirit of Success Award. That means a lot coming from the district graduating from Brookhaven, go to Bearcats, even though the school is closed. We keep that spirit alive. But I wanted to iterate the point that I've been sharing with a lot of students across the country, that I wouldn't be where I am, whatever success I have, without two loving parents who were college professors, even though I grew up in Linden, who really guided me on a path. And my work, my life's work, even at the Columbus Foundation, has been to help build the capacity of a standardized youth development system throughout the county that wraps our arms around our students to ensure that every youth enters adulthood prepared to pursue opportunities to live well. And that's inside and outside of the school. And so I want to use this platform as an artist and as someone who cares about the students of Columbus City Schools to engage with you and let you know that I am here to help and that we are purposed through our work at the Foundation for Opportunity Youth Initiative to do everything we can to make sure our students are successful. 1. 2, we are also taking this message to the world. As a result of the residency at the Wexner Center, we are looking to do 100 concerts at colleges and high schools throughout the country. And then we're talking about some things in South Africa and Europe, where we're taking art about the African experience and using art to encourage young people to use their voice with agency to then be agents for change in their communities in the world. Again, I encourage you to help me help students at Columbus City Schools and around the country to ensure that we hear our youth, that we allow them to hold us accountable, and that we help them help themselves because they are not just our future, they are our present. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Lomax. And what I'd like to do is we're going to present you with a certificate of excellence. I also have a commemorative edition of the program from the ceremony the other day. But this certificate of excellence honors Dr. Mark Lomax for being a recipient of the coveted 2018 Wexner Center for the Arts Artist Residency Award and for your creative spirit, exceptional talent, and ongoing support of our students and this community. So I'd like to ask you to come up front so we can take a photograph. And I'd like for everyone to recognize your accomplishment with an applause.
Thank you very much.
Are there any questions, clarifying questions for Dr. Lomax? Board Member Gibbs.
Can you tell us a bit about the 100 concerts and how many of the 50 of them are going to be in the Columbus City School District?
So I'm glad you asked that. Thank you. We're going to do our kind of dress rehearsal at Fort Hayes on January 25th. Our premiere concert. So I'm releasing 12 albums on January 25th. It's never been done before. The albums are about everything from pre-colonial African history to 400 years in the future, where we're artistically projecting how humans can optimize their potential and come together and create a better world. So we will be taking that message for the curriculum to 100 schools, high schools, and colleges around the country. Right now, we only have the one performance at Fort Hayes, where I went to the vocational school, so I wanted to make sure that we work with those kids first. But we'll be doing another master class there, I think in March. So we're open. I live here, so I'm happy to be there anytime I can. I did used to play for Faith.
You did. On these days, other than the 25th, will there be opportunity for students from around the district maybe to come to the one in March that may or may not attend Fort Hayes?
I'm happy to have that conversation.
Okay.
We're still working out logistics.
I'm very thankful. I'm in awe of your talent. You're more humble. But if you Google Dr. Lomax, you will see all of his work and his tremendous, not only academic accomplishments, but definitely musical expertise and just sheer talent. So thank you so much for sharing that with us in the district.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Dr. Lomax? Well, thank you so much. It's There are so many very accomplished, successful graduates of our district, and I think it's really important that current students see as many examples of those as possible. So we thank you on behalf of the board for sharing your story, your success with our students. Thank you so much. Thank you. Congratulations. All right, and that is our last speaker. So I'll thank all of you who took the time to come to the board meeting this evening to address the board. We do appreciate it. It's meaningful, and we hear you. Thank you very much, and happy holidays. Let's move on then to direct reports, and I will call on the superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. President, to the members of the Board of Education. Movie screens these days are filled with the likes of Superman, Black Panther, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman. But it doesn't take the bite of a mutant spider or the petals of an exotic flower to turn our young people into superheroes. I believe it takes them having a commitment to being the best that they can be and stretching their abilities beyond what they think is possible. We need our students to believe that being a better reader is possible. We need our students to believe that reading can give you superpowers. It can give you the power of adventure and laughter. You can travel to new worlds where anything can happen. You can help leap to the future and then go back in time through a book. And you can march beside historic figures and experience the emotions of people who lived generations ago. But the two greatest superpowers that reading can give you are imagination and inspiration. And the more you read, the greater your imagination and inspiration can grow. The more you can believe in your dreams and make them into reality. All of us have used our reading superpowers to be where we are today as professionals. So I can safely say from my own experience and from the experience of others, yes, reading gives you superpowers, and we are looking to turn more of our second and third grade readers in Columbus City Schools into super readers. Tonight, I'm happy to report that our academic surge on elementary reading is well underway, as is our similar surge on high school geometry and our new plans for a middle school math surge. As you will recall, a key component of the surge is equipping our teachers with practical, hands-on, easy-to-use strategies for helping all of our students who continue to struggle with reading or math. This past Saturday, we completed the month-long series of Saturday K through 3rd grade phonics and word study professional development classes with more than 350 teachers in attendance. Teachers have shared their positive feedback regarding the presentations and the materials we have provided them through this professional development opportunity. Our academic support team even received pictures and invitations from reading teachers to come see the strategies they learned and how they are already using them in the classroom to help our students become better readers. At the high school level, our Math 1 and Math 2 teachers have participated in 2 professional development opportunities, with the final session to take place when we return from winter break. Again, some great feedback from our teachers. The math teachers have been focused on developing rich tasks. These rich tasks are classroom activities that offer different levels of challenge to students and allow for different methods and a variety of responses to be provided. Finally, we are beginning to sign up our middle school math teachers for a one-day course in January, which will show them how to use visible learning strategies to use in the classroom with our students. Another part of our elementary reading surge is our effort to encourage parents to sign up their 2nd and 3rd grade children into our Super Saturday Reader Academy. And I've got some visuals that Director Johnson is helping me this evening with. This year's Academy has been supercharged with more locations, more seats, more intervention time, and more supports to help more of our students meet and exceed the requirements of the third grade reading guarantee. More, 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 and more. The free Saturday Super Reader Academy will run every Saturday from January 26th through March the 16th from 9 a.m. till noon. We will provide transportation and food for our students at these academies. Signs and flyers are already popping up at all of our elementary schools, encouraging our young people to power up for the academies. And all of our second and third grade teachers were enlisted to help in the cause with special superhero masks sent to their classrooms. And I believe you have a superhero mask yourself. A warning, I would not put them on because there's glitter on them. And we don't want you to walk around with glitter around your eyes all evening.
And there are people in the audience with cameras.
Exactly. Tomorrow, families can start signing up their students through the parent portal or by going onto our website to sign up for the academy. Also, this Friday, we will be sending home 17,200 winter reading activity kits with our elementary students to utilize over the winter break. These kits are filled with fun exercises and engaging activities that families can do together to build up reading and literacy skills at a time when we might normally see a slide in their skills over a winter break. Winter break is the perfect time to mix the spirit of the holidays with a few lessons on reading comprehension and argumentative writing. Think about it. Doesn't every Dear Santa letter require us to include a well-written, logical reason on why you should still have a present despite a few behavior mishaps during the school year? Finally, 40 schools are eligible to receive primary specialist assistance during the upcoming second semester to help them provide targeted reading intervention for those students who need it the most in kindergarten through third grade. All of these surge activities are aligned to the priorities and strategies in our 5-year strategic plan. We will begin the second phase of our academic improvement planning efforts with the start of our fiscal year 2020 budget process. That process will be one of us aligning these strategies to the investments we need to make for the 2020 fiscal year. Some of that effort has already begun with some initial planning and preparation work by our budget director, Mr. Scott Gooding, with our district leaders across the district. So the surge is on, and we are ready to power up with our academies, with our district's youngest readers, and help them to discover their own superpowers through the power of reading. Finally, there's one other thing that I would like to ask our families, staff, and stakeholders, and our board members as we enter into the winter break. I would like everyone that can hear my voice to open their doors and their hearts to the expression of love and peace for our society and the world this holiday season. It is always during these long breaks from school that I worry the most, and our team worries the most, about our students. Do they have safe and engaging things to do? Are they getting nutritious meals? Is someone watching over and helping them get through this period? Over the past week or so, and then again these next couple of days, we have had a number of business and community partners provide winter coats, new clothes, wrapped presents, and healthy food for our families who need them the most. There are toy drives and fundraisers all across this city to help those who need the assistance. This city's generosity is unparalleled, and is one of the reasons this is a special community for many of us. Our partners help us to ensure that hunger and winter weather are never a barrier to our students' opportunities for success. And during the break, there are several local hotspots that are offering free special programming to provide our students and their families with safe places to enjoy the season and each other without having to worry. And as always, our partner at the City of Columbus has provided a Schools Out section on their website. So we encourage our families to check out the Schools Out section of the City of Columbus website, or look for a link on their web page and Facebook pages to link you to that information. To all of our teachers, staff, and families across this city, I hope that this time is an opportunity to bring those who are closest to you even closer to your hearts. With that in mind, I want to close by sharing a special video presented by the 4th and 5th graders from Columbus Spanish Immersion Academy. Thanks to our strategic communications team for arranging this annual holiday greeting that was emailed out today to all of our employees, families, Facebook and social media followers, and community partners. Real quickly, this traditional song is about opening up your heart and home this time of year to family, fellowship, community, and love for your neighbor. What a perfect message for us to end a wonderful 2018 with the students at Columbus Spanish Immersion Academy. Mr. President, that concludes my remarks, and happy holidays to all of you and all of those in the audience and those in the listening audience.
Thank you, Superintendent. Board Member Reyes?
Thank you. Dr. Stanford, I just had a couple questions on the Super Reader program. You stated that the parent can talk to, or the child can sign up with the principal, or they can go online. So was there a phone dialer that went out to our parents so that they knew that this was available? And if so, can the parents sign up, calling in case they don't have access via a phone or?
I will turn to Mr. Varner to come up and respond to how we're reaching out to those families.
Good evening, President Baker, to Board Member Reyes. So we have just begun the process of reaching out to families, and so what you see tonight is kind of that first step in the outreach process. Unique this year, we are using Infinite Campus and our parent portal to sign families up, just as we did with summer school. So that's how you'll sign up for this year's Youth Academy. And so that's why it says to kind of work with your principal, because we know many of our families might not immediately recognize, wait a minute, what's a parent portal? So we're encouraging them to talk with their principal. But that's how parents will sign up this year, how families will sign up is through the parent portal.
And all parents know how to use the portal, they have access to it, and they know every single second and third parent.
They do not, but that's what we're trying to get more of our families to go, is to use that parent portal because it has so much information. Yes, every parent has access to it. Have they taken the time to learn how to do that? Maybe not yet, but we're trying to get more of our parents and families to engage through the parent portal. So that's part of the encouragement of this. But anytime, I mean, if there are students that need to be enrolled in part of this, we will work to get them there, however it takes. But again, part of the encouragement is through the parent portal.
And if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Varner, that parent portal is also accessible through a smartphone, if you have a smartphone?
It is. You can access it through the mobile app, through the Columbus City Schools mobile app. There's a button on there that will take you to the parent portal. But you have to sign up. I mean, there are steps. If you have not used the parent portal yet, there is a process to go through. But the more that we can get our parents into using the parent portal, we know that is a great resource, a great tool for our parents, so we have families. So we really encourage them to use it.
So will we have, and I guess, prompt another question. So will there be instructions somewhere so that if a parent says, I'm looking for this, here are the instructions on how I sign up for the portal? Or can we make that available so that in the process of us trying to teach them, let's have it easily accessible next to this? I still think, I think the phone dialer would be great.
There will be a phone dialer that will go out. I've been trying to practice my superhero voice to be able to put on that auto dial so we can keep this super reader theme going, because we really, I mean, there are a number of ways in which we will make sure to outreach to our families so that all second and third grade families know about this great resource.
And I'm assuming, I don't have to ask the question in multiple languages, right?
Yes, yes.
So, Espanol and French. The next question, possibly, Dr. Stanford, are we incorporating parents or any providers into this project and or defining how they can help our students other than just dropping them off or holding us responsible for the reading?
Mr. President, to Ms. Reyes, I don't see her in the audience, but Mr. Baker is going to step up. I was going to try and provide as much as I know, but Mr. Baker has more information than me, so I'm going to let him.
President Baker to Ms. Reyes, there will be opportunities throughout that 8-week period where parents will be invited to come in while their children are actually in their own learning sessions, where parents will have opportunities to learn some of the skills as well, so that we can help to incorporate family engagement activities and as well to train those parents and to instruct those parents on how to support the same level of learning at home.
Thank you. I would suggest perhaps inviting some providers too. We have a lot of providers that offer after-school programs. If we're going to be able to share some best practices, it'd be great to be able to share it with our community also. Thank you.
Board Member Gibbs?
Yes, so I want a point of clarification to Mr. Varner, to the point of parent access. I heard aspirational, but not operational. So other than electronic and social media, how can a family who is disconnected from the internet access this information?
So I President Baker, to Board Member Gibbs, I brought up help in this answer to help talk a little bit more about parent portal and some of those accesses. But specific to your question about making sure the outreach goes in a number of different ways to make sure that parents and families know about this information, even if they may be disconnected from computers or email or social media, you're seeing that information actually going directly to the schools, to our families. The signs that Dr. Stanford put up, that will actually go up in all of our elementary schools. Students are being sent home with information about the academy as part of those winter packets. So a lot of information about the academies and the program are going directly to families. Printed materials, as well as the auto dial, which works if you're not connected to technology. Let me have Dr. Klein share more information about Parent Portal, if that would be helpful.
Thank you, Mr. Varner. Board President Baker, to Board Member Gray's question and to Board Member Kidd's question, we actually have this all under control. It's actually kind of exciting, just so you know. We actually use VocaLink now at Central Enrollment, which gives me 132 languages instantly. And we will be helping with any parent that either calls us or comes into the Central Enrollment Center, because we are partnering with academics to make sure each and every student can get on. Not only do we want to get them signed up for for Super Reader Academy, but we also want to provide them the opportunity and the link to Parent Portal. So you see, by doing this, we've actually got two things accomplished in one, in that they will then be able to, in real time, see their students' attendance and grades as well. So we're hoping that that helps our parents as well.
Thank you for that, but let me ask one more question upon clarification. Because I know what happens when I go from school to my kids' book bag to then what I actually get at the end of the day, that's not wrapped up and involved. Are we looking at our students' test scores and mailing a letter to the parent saying, this is where your child's level is? Are we adding an academic, because we know right now what students are on track or not on track for reading. So other than the campaign, are we pulling out names and looking at our student scores and saying, your child is at this level? While this is not required, this is where your child's reading level is, and you shouldn't come, you need to come. And this is more than just a fun idea. Your child is at a critical reading level being held back. Are we sending that with that type of information?
Great question. Board President Baker, to Board Member Kidd's question, absolutely. So not only is that included in interims and in quarterly grade reports, but it is also being done at the teacher level. So teachers are being asked to reach out to these readers and to these students to make sure that they do become super readers.
I'm saying, are we sending this with that information, mailing it directly to
Are we
parents?
doing U.S. mail? Not that I am aware of.
So a combination, President Baker, Board Member Gibbs, a combination. So there are postcards about the Super Reader Academy that will be going home to our second and third graders. That's just about the Super Reader Academy. Separate from that, as you heard Dr. Stanford mention, we've kind of enlisted the help of our second and third grade teachers. Yes, we did it in a fun way by sending them each those superhero masks, but that's really enlisting their help to go that extra step, as you're talking about, to as they look at their classrooms, identifying those specific students that they know would benefit most from this reading academy. And so it's kind of a twofold part. I guess we're sending information directly home through a postcard, and then asking the teachers to look at the students in their classroom and identify those and reach out to those families.
Yeah, well, because I think this is great. I think the campaign is great. I think we miss an opportunity if we don't add the data and very direct conversation with the parents about the need. And so if the teachers are already in the classroom, they should already be doing this without a superhero, right? That's what they always do. This draws extra attention and provides something that might spark the attention of a parent and of a student, but if I'm already behind, I'm already struggling, but if I'm from a low parent engagement household, then we need something to go more directly to the parent to say, okay, here it is, just one more time, and to add the data to it. So I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I'm going to say that I think the campaign is great. I love this. I think we get all kinds of spin, but to the practical matter of it, we have, according to our data, too many students that are behind in reading. We know exactly where we are, and we have their address, and their parents need to get this in a different type of way. And while this is we would want you to come, I think that we should have it in I just would want to know what those parents
All other revenues combined above plan at about 11.4 million on the year. And going to those categories, you'll see that the one that is most notable was other revenues. Nothing new there in terms of the components of that 11.8 million year-to-date variance being over plan. The first one being Medicaid, as I mentioned in the past, at about 3.6 million that was received in advance, and we're anticipating it in June. That reimbursement, quite frankly, is obvious by this. I don't really know when that's going to come in. So just so you know, we were anticipating 2.7 million in the plan in June. So it's very well will likely work itself out. Payments in lieu of taxes are about 5.5 million year-to-date ahead of plan. We anticipated about 2.2 million. We look at that, and one of the conversations we're having now is, should we modify our plan amount and our forecast to be a little bit more aggressive in our estimates there? And as I said to the committee last month, we've requested of the council to get at least a 2 to 3 year layout of those agreements that we do have in place for pilots, so that we have a pretty good grip on it for a couple of years out. After that, then you get into updates and reappraisals, and we don't know what those complaints will be. But history tells us that perhaps we could be a little bit more aggressive with that. The other item that continues to be a contributor to running above plan is interest income at about 2.7 million above plan. We have received about 3.4 million year to date in interest income, and we have about 2.3 million in the plan. Again, we are typically over plan on that, and that'll be another item to discuss as to whether or not we modify our estimates in the future. So all in all, those are three of the largest contributors to that variance, one of which is timing, and the other two those are always good to receive more, but we'll have to see if we shouldn't plan on that in the future as we move forward. But again, we're talking about somewhere, $2.5 to $5 million of change on an annual basis, and we might be able to additionally plan for. So it's a fairly large number to us as an individual consumer, but to the overall $980 million budget, it's not tremendously significant, but we would like to get a little bit closer if we can. Moving on to expenditures, you'll see that personnel expenditures, again, on a visual basis, hard to see that they're running slightly under plan. And we had a fairly lengthy discussion about this. November was the first of 2 3-pay months in the fiscal year. With 26 pay schedule, you have 2 months, obviously, that you have to have 3 pays to get up to 26 pays for the year. And as I look back on how the plan was developed, quite frankly, we simply underestimated the impact of the 3-pay month. And what that meant was we expected more in the other months, we expected less in this month. On an annual basis, we're okay, but it kind of distorted the variances. So I anticipate in the coming months, when we return to 2-pay months, that we will likely run under plan there because of this variance, this issue with the plan for this first 3-pay month. The second 3-pay month, which I believe occurs in May, we actually expected a little bit larger percentage of the over plan for the first time this year, but not by much. This past month, we saw in the calculation about a $3.7 million jump in the annual amount for charter schools. I shared with the board in the management discussion analysis, in the last pages, you'll see all the charter schools and all the categories of children, the various categories, and the funding for them. Opportunity grant, special education, transportation, all of those, and the net change for each one. So you'll see that it's all over the board as that new data came in compared to last month data that we were using, which was the prior year data. We don't have a way to predict that or forecast it, but I shared that information just to share with the community that when that comes in, it's just kind of it's wild kind of changes that we know where they are, but we don't have a predictive model for that. The good news is that even though that annual amount is so 3.7. It still is within our annual appropriation and what's in the plan for that. So again, that's on target. Nothing noteworthy about other expenditures at this point. And I believe, on the other side, I'm sorry, on other expenditures, purchase services are running above plan, under plan by $900,000 for the month, bringing the year-to-date variance to $4.2 million. And looking at the details, it's spread out among several items, but primarily it's in the area of tuition and utilities, which is pretty much out of our control. And again, as with most of this on the expenditure side, I'd rather be under plan than over plan in these categories. So, as with everything else, we'll continue to watch this. No other noteworthy changes in the remaining categories for this month. And in closing, revenues are above plan, about 5%. Expenditures are discussions with budget managers. This year, and at this meeting, we talked about what we're doing this year in terms of the actual mechanics behind preparing your budget. We're going to use our ERP system, Munis, to a great degree in preparing the budgets instead of Excel spreadsheets. I won't bore you with the practical, technical issues of sharing hundreds of spreadsheets and trying to bring them all back and get them entered versus using our ERP system and using their budget entry system by our budget managers to put the data directly into our central repository of data, and then having that be the point at which we extract data. It's really a monumental move on our part. We're going to require a lot of training for Mr. Big's staff with our budget managers and those people who enter the budgets. But it is it's really a kind of a cool process. And I don't know if that's a technological term or not, but I've already been a guinea pig on it and sat and did my budget that way. And it allows you to detail and have that maintained right there in our system so that we can have pretty much immediate access to the detail of what's actually in each budget. So for those of us who are testing data kind of geeks, it's a very neat thing. Scott and I just had a rather lengthy conversation about the evolution of how budget processes and the use of data has gone from, when I was in college, we called it data processing. I've heard about silos of information at some point in time. Now we have desktop systems where we all can access data, but that gets all spread out and it's hard to handle. Now we're going back to let's put it all in one spot and enter it there and keep it there. And then data finances side. I don't know.
Okay.
I got it out there. So it is, this is, we've been doing some absolutely amazing things in the budget process that for a district our size, for an entity our size, to make the kind of changes that began, I think Scott began about 3 or 4 months before I did. And it was one of the first things he shared with me. And he said, I'm changing the way we do budgets. I'm going to turn it upside down. And that's what he did. And I kind of stand on the sidelines and cheer as we go and try and help support it. But it's really good. And we're able, it just makes it use our systems to support that program drives the budget philosophy that we have. And we'll see in those line items that program detail that will support why the numbers look the way the numbers look, and putting together 5 years of that data in our system and have it stay there and be able to use it next year and the year after that, and add on and then enhance it. This is a growing, morphing, learning process, and it's exciting for us on the accounting side to be involved in something like that.
Thank you. It sounds really good, and that it'll be really good for the district and all of us. Anything else from or for the treasurer? All right, thank you very much, Mr. Treasurer. Thank you. Let's move on then to our consent agenda. Is there a motion that we accept it as presented? So moved. Moved and seconded. Discussion on any piece of legislation contained within the consent agenda this evening, Mr. Brown. Yes. There will be one item that I'll be voting against, but more importantly, I took a look at the minutes from our last meeting, the December 4th regular meeting of this board. And those minutes nowhere include any of the discussion that was advanced by Mary Jo Hudson or myself. I know that some of that was advanced in item 3. That was, and I talked about that issue. And I think those things should be properly reflected in the minutes. I don't see those. Very closely related. I received a telephone call from a journalist who had been looking at the video of the same meeting. And that journalist was calling to inquire those video recordings are a record, I think an official record of a meeting. And if that occurred, and I honestly don't know, I looked at the video myself, but on the small screen I couldn't make out a whole lot that I could tell. But that would be certainly problematic. So I would ask that the minutes that are presented for approval here be amended to reflect those things. And I'd like to know more, and it doesn't need to be tonight.
The Board of Education speaks through its actions, and the minutes are a recording of its actions. The service that we use, Board Docs, facilitates that very well. As you see, there are items on the agenda. Typically they are voted on items. They are done by motion. Moved and seconded. They are resolutions that are duly adopted. In my history, I've seen minutes morph and have included, sometimes they look like transcripts, and boards have tended, in my experience, to stay away from that so that you don't have a disagreement about, that's not exactly what I said, you didn't include this statement, and then in essence, it becomes difficult to record verbatim what the and that therefore it does not exist if you recall that motion. So I would certainly do whatever the board's pleasure is, but just so you know, that's typical, that is our practice, to do it through resolution only. And that's how you speak officially, is through resolution.
Okay, so we have a motion before us from Board Member Brown to amend the minutes from December 4th to include the discussion that he mentioned. Is there a second?
A second.
All right, is there discussion on that motion? Mr. Ragland?
So if a motion is offered but not seconded, it does not get included in the minutes. Is that
What's up? So we're triangulating on the accuracy.
Are there any more questions or comments related to the motion, specifically germane to the motion before us? Ms. Gibbs?
Yes, I would like to know, I think what I heard you say is there's some type of thought that someone altered the video.
Ms. Gibbs, that is not germane to this particular motion. We'll come back to that.
I thought that was the whole purpose of the minutes, was that what was provided?
No, we'll come back. That's question number 2. We'll come back to that. Any other questions?
What is the motion? Because if the motion is to add something that is not a part of the way we take minutes, I was under the assumption that our recordings are also a part of our minutes, is what you use to make sure you verify what has happened in the motions, right? So I want to ask our communications department if there was anything wrong with the videotape. I mean, I think that's in order.
Actually live stream, and then the minute they're over, you can watch the video on Facebook. It's Facebook Live, not Facebook Live edit. So there are no edits to our videos.
Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Any other, Mr. Treasurer?
One other comment. I just went back, it's not yet posted on the minutes, I don't believe for this meeting, but I went back to the November 20th meeting, and there is embedded in the board docs minutes
Motion, I'll ask the treasurer to call the roll on the amendment, which is to amend the minutes from December 4th to include the discussions that Mr. Brown alluded to.
Ms. Gibbs?
No.
Mr. Magdalene? Yes. Ms. Reyes?
No.
President Baker?
No.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Cole?
No.
That motion failed.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments on any piece of legislation contained in the consent agenda this evening, colleagues?
Just again, thank you to all the generous donors who are supporting our program through the arts, through providing opportunities for our kids to go to camp and to continue our great camps. Continue to thank our partners that help our students.
Any other questions or comments, colleagues? Mr. Treasurer? The agenda here. First is audit and accountability. So you all received this electronically in advance. You also provided with a paper copy. So I'll just briefly go through this. And as I asked you all to keep your reports to 5 minutes if you could, I'll agree. So Audit and Accountability Committee for 2018 calendar year. The committee was chaired by Board Member Hudson, staffed, of course, by our very capable internal auditor, Carolyn Smith. Members included Board Member Brown, Board Member Reyes. I serve ex officio. Community members included Tim Grant, Greg Jordan, Dr. Charles Saunders, and I just appointed Elijah Vajon to the committee. So the committee generally meets on a monthly basis. Very much. So that is the report from ANA, and I'll ask our internal auditor if there's anything she'd like to share with the board related to the work of the committee for this calendar year.
Just as usual, President Baker, I really appreciate the committee, the board members, and the community members. They bring a wealth of information for me to rely on, and they are a great committee to get advice, and they make sound recommendations to the board, and I look forward to working with the committee and the new members in 2019.
Thank you, internal auditor. The community members of ANA, that's one.
As a purpose in charge, is the board in carrying out its powers is dedicated to a high level of performance and accountability for quality of its governance and fiduciary duties. This is a committee that allows community residents to have the opportunity to come and view our board and review our board's performance. There is a qualitative piece to that and a quantitative piece to that. We are graded, so community members have the opportunity to actually grade us. So I am looking to welcome more opportunities for members, even in the audience, in the listening audience, to join this committee. It is I was at South High School. He is currently attending West Point, so he had to step down from the committee. Another one of our committee members currently serves as an esteemed member of Columbus City Council, and Mr. Emmanuel Remy. He had to step down for that very reason. Another another committee member had to step down for accepting a new position, a new job. So we're looking at the opportunity, the door is wide open for membership to this wonderful committee. That is all I have.
Vice President Cole, any questions for Vice President Cole? Thank you very much for your continued leadership of BENC. And next, let's move on to NSDP, Neighborhood School Development Partnership. NSDP was busy this year, contemplating and discussing Operation Fix-It, also talking about charter proposed revisions, which we are still working on. And generally, this is the committee that looks at and considers projects and expenses related to building and renovating district facilities. Mr. Trevino, would you like to offer any brief comments related to the committee report? It's not mandatory, you can say no.
Anything additional I'll offer.
Okay. All right, Mr. Trevino is an expert at what he does and is very good at serving as liaison to the committee.
Engagement Committee is mirroring and supporting the work of our district's Office of Strategic Communication. Working together, the committee and the Strategic Communications team have had significant impact this past year in sharing the mission and vision of the district and engaging in wider breadth of our community stakeholders through a diverse set of initiatives and outreach events. Perhaps the best example of this wide engagement is the community was invited to join in some of our district's most important discussions throughout this calendar year, including extensive public engagement around potential budget reductions, the search for a new superintendent, and the debate over the future use of our facilities. Thousands of voices were heard through direct to prioritize safety, when we all act together to protect one another, and when we all speak out together about the need to end gun violence. In May, the annual National Children's Day celebrations drew hundreds of families to the 6 school locations offering free activities: Columbus Global Academy, Columbus North International, East High School, Marion Franklin High School, Walnut Ridge High School, and West High School. During the summer, the district participated in several high-profile community events, including the Stonewall Columbus Pride Parade, the African American Male Wellness Walk, and the Columbus Latino Festival. Also during the summer, our district partnered with NBC individuals from across the central Ohio joined in, donating supplies and dollars at special events at the Columbus Zoo, the NBC4 studios, and at local business and community outlets. Just as important, many of those same organizations and individuals participated in a welcoming student to the first day of school, with crowds of people clapping in students as they got off the bus and walked inside, celebrating the first day and showing our students that our community values education. Because the committee and the strategic communications team are closely aligned, it's worth noting that the engagement levels reached by our communication On Twitter, about 166,000 users each month see the content that the district tweeted. From our mobile app, nearly 17,000 new people have downloaded the free Columbus City Schools mobile app. So that means we still need a couple more because we have about 250,000 parents and 52,000 kids. So please download the mobile app. So the committee looks to build upon this relationship with the Office of Strategic Communications by transitioning the staff liaison to include our Executive Director of Strategic Communications, Scott Warner. And there'll be more to come as the year progresses. This is my report.
Thank you, Board Member Reyes. Any questions for Board Member Reyes on public engagement? All right, let's move on then to finance and appropriations. And I will cover that as well. So we are staff. The committee and discussed before they come here to the full board. This is a great opportunity, another one where we use that outside community expertise of people who are, for example, bankers and advisors. They have a unique perspective and skill set that we're able to bring to the board, to the committee. So it's a really outstanding way that we can provide an additional level of vetting and input from people who are experts in the financial field. So in fact, the committee is beginning, as you heard earlier, the budget process. And so looking forward to that, we do have a brand new member who I just appointed, and that is Katie Johnson. And so looking forward to that. She is an attorney, but she was also a teacher at one point. So I think that she'll bring a unique perspective.
And we try and condense that down to 10 or 15 minutes each, but it still requires quite a bit of time to review that. So I think again, I'll use the word, it's a pretty cool thing to watch, that you get to hear about academics and how it's costed out and fits into the budget. So it goes beyond just finance and appropriations. Thank you.
Thank you. And typically, in addition to the treasurer, the director of budget finance is there, and our controller is usually there as well. So it's like 3 of the treasurer in this committee meeting. So we really get into some of the numbers. And
it's a 3-fer.
Yeah, it's a great committee. And I want to commend this treasurer. He talks a lot about the program driving the budget.
And largely because we've had a lot of really good people serve on the committee. Jennifer Adair, Joellen Klein, both of whom were among the people that the board considered an interview for the position that another of our community members on the committee, Mr. Ragland, ended up winning. Kelsey Ellenson, Jared Holt, Tina Pierce, and as I said, Mr. Ragland was with us until he moved to the board. Fortunately, we were able to keep his attention on the committee and his board members 3 board meetings during the year, and that resulted in amending 46 policies and bylaws. Most of those came from Neola, with bringing us into conformity with federal or state law or new developments. But we also dealt with policy dealing with speech off campus, and we are currently discussing policies pertaining to domestic violence and equity, both of which are important matters, but they will require
innovation and reform. So Ms. Gibbs.
Yes. Thank you, President Baker, Vice President Cole, colleagues on the board, members of our viewing and listening audience. They say the absolute best for last, I'm sure of it. The Innovation and Reform Committee is one of the most amazing opportunities I have to serve with not just my colleagues, but with numerous people in the community. They are a part of a wide array of organizations, people who come together to work. I want you to watch this video. You have the volume.
Big Chair. Explicit is included with crimes that is available on Amazon.
Alexa, play Picture. Alexa, play Picture.
Sure, baby, hold back by Say Anything on Amazon Music.
Alexa, Alexa.
Starting now on Amazon Music.
Mommy shark doo 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 doo, mommy shark doo 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 doo, mommy shark doo 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 doo, mommy shark. Daddy shark doo doo doo, daddy shark.
seen that video? Yeah, I've seen it. Why is that important to what we do in innovation and reform? Ladies and gentlemen, that is our next generation of students. They grew up saying, Alexa, Baby Shark. Play Baby Shark. And knew right away that was not her song. But the moment she heard her song, she started to jam. She's like, this is my song. So one, she knew how to direct the technology. Two, she knew when she didn't get what she wanted. And three, she knew the exact version. And once she got it, she was happy and satisfied. That, ladies and gentlemen, is our challenge of the next. This is the second, not even the first, this will be the second generation of people who have grown up with the entire world on their phone. This used to take up an entire server. And I have more power in this phone than in the first computer you've seen on social network. So that is why our mission in innovation and reform is to serve as a strategic committee to analyze and collect data of all the newest trends, of all the newest practices, both in the district, in the country, in the world, to bring that together with our dynamic team. And we have been led through, over time, like in every iteration I've had the leadership and the wisdom of Dr. John Stanford to help us lead this committee forward with our work, in conjunction with our Chief Academic Officer, Alicia Gillison, our Chief Accountability Officer, Dr. Michelle Klein, and our point on innovative high school. Association of superintendents and professionals and curriculum instructors. So we all come together and we leverage those benefits and those resources to try to find the best way to educate our next generation of students. So as you know, how do our ideas come to life? Very quickly, we think about them, we kick them to the superintendent, they review them, they come to the board, we review them, we decide whether to move forward, to study them, and move forward to adopt them, and then the process starts all over. So we cover the academic, the operational, and the government. So any ideas that we come up with or we get from our website that offers us ideas of how we can be better and more efficient, those are the ideas that we have considered. Our 2018 progress and achievements in March, after studying this for about a year and a half, we were able to send our liaison, Ms. Cherie Wells, to the Nashville Academies for a study visit. She came back and gave a report to the committee about what she has found. And in April, the Akron Public Schools, who have adopted the Nashville Academy model, came to Innovation and Reform and they presented for the committee their challenges, their lessons learned, how they're moving forward with implementing the Academies of Nashville in Akron. In May, as a follow-up to our priorities on restorative practices, we had our first restorative practice training and was able to train 36 trainers here in the district from the Institute. We came back and followed up with our conversation on discipline and House Bill 318, which was also a part of our innovation reform, which gave suspensions. You can no longer suspend students in pre-K through third grade. And that had been a national initiative from our national partners to us here in the state. And so we were able to see that come to fruition. I would like to acknowledge my community partners, and there are a lot of them, but two that are in the audience are Ms. Rhonda Johnson, who's representing the City of Columbus, Department of Education, and Mr. Henri Tolles. If you would stand, or wave, Rhonda and Ari, representing the Ohio State University and as an alum on the committee. So let me just share about the national site visit, which took a lot of our work. In September, we were able to take a team, and we didn't even have the largest team there, but we were able to take a team, a cross-section of our community, some community partners, some non-traditional schools, and their middle school feeders to look at Nashville and to look at the hub and to see what it offers. I offer to you that right now we have been so consumed about buildings and facilities that we knew our work was not just focused on the facilities master plan. Holistic and our universal learning schools. And those were our three priorities to study. So anybody who knows me, I know that I wanted to go to McGavick High School, flat out. They are the transportation and aviation high school. Y'all know I wanted a NASCAR school forever. And we had a chance to visit McGavick, and it was a lot of what we thought. The way they built the buildings, they can bring Cessnas. You can build the Cessna, as you see on the right, inside the school, and they take it out, and you can earn your airline, your pilot's license at age 15. And they have community partners that help our students. Once they build it, they can fly it, and they have flight simulators, and they help them just learn how to fly. They also have just a number of academies. So one high school can have anywhere from 5 to 10 different academies. So also in McGavick is their banking and finance school, and they have a credit. They went to one of the other ones. But in Stratford, which is one of the smallest schools, they have both the STEM and the Academy of National Safety and Security. So on the left, you see the STEM, and the young lady right there broke down the beta carotene of cancer cells and how, like, I don't know, a marble could help come up with a cure. It was amazing. She lost me in the first 3 rounds, but she is incredible and is doing major research with Vanderbilt University as their community partner. On the right, they have a youth court. It is a part of the magistrate system in their county. So if you get in trouble, you go to moot court. The students serve as your jury, and all of the convictions are real. If you don't follow them, you go to real jail. And so it is a part of their public policy and national security. And that's a part of their security team. They have a cyber security focus. And they work all football games, all school events. They have walkie-talkies. They can take you down in 3 seconds. They are the student ambassador security team. And more often than not, they're the first ones on the scene before the school safety security officers get there. These young ladies all either want to be police officers or they want to join the military. And this is their pathway there. So Tennessee and work in Tennessee. They told us they don't want to import any more talent from Charlotte or Lexington or Atlanta. They want homegrown talent. But what struck me about this work is that they know that they have almost 15 billion in tourism, and the Grand Ole Opry has an academy. So Opryland has an academy where they train people in the hospitality industry. It's amazing. And the top portion, I know we're very used to AP and IB, but as you can see, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 more letters that these students go for. Cambridge, their dual enrollment, their college credit is structured differently, but they don't have just one single focus or just 1 or 2. They're encouraged to go for the Cambridge certification. They're encouraged to go for secondary. So if you think about it, if Columbus State is free, everybody can come out with an associate's degree, right? With less college debt, and that is a part of their. Going to make sure after there's no suspensions K-3. So what are we doing in grade 4 to make sure those students are acclimated with the right consequences and behaviors, and all the teachers are and administrators are all up to speed with how we're going to manage that in elementary school. There's an academic curriculum audit where we're looking at what we have. So part of the National Academies, we went and saw a whole lot of things. But then we also realized in Columbus, we have a whole lot. We have a ROTC. We have, an aviation program. We have an auto tech program. We have HVAC. So it's really looking at where are the gaps, what's coming down the pike, and then what do we really need to do. And we're looking at overall what we started about 2 years ago around our curriculum. And Dr. Klein will smile when I say this. We have a lot of things that we have in our school descriptions, but we're going to spend some intentional time to say, how well are we implementing these with fidelity? If this is a school that is based on physical excellence, where do I see that in the curriculum? Where do I see that in the day-to-day practice? If this is French immersion, when I walk in, do I hear French? Do I see French? Focus and to find out how they can implement that with fidelity. And finally, the next is a March Academies visit, but the next opportunity our new superintendent will be able to go is in the September visit. There's 2 visits a year, and they're in the spring and in the fall, and so our superintendent will be there in the fall visit for 2019 to take a look. We project, even though you see this work in these reports, the academies of Nashville, the Intergenerational Academy, the Universal Art Academy, this is a 3 to 5 year process to study, to look at the feasibility, to identify where they go, and even if we wanted to do it, they work with the Ford Next Generation Leadership Project, and you have to be chosen. But we are doing all the right steps to study, to learn, to find out the do's, the don'ts, the benefits, pros and cons, before we move the entire district, or even adopt 3 or 4 academies in our district to see what they're going to do. And so we're very, very excited about that. While it has taken up a lot of work, the visit, I would say in September, was very, very beneficial in showing us kind of how they make the Dr. Stanford, have you had any questions or any comments that you'd like to make?
Superintendent, anything to add to the report?
Just very, very quickly, this committee has been really active over the last couple of years, especially in exploring the innovative high school ideas that have been generated by the committee members. That really has represented a broad spectrum of organizations and individuals across our city. So it's been a pleasure working with them and being led by Ms. Cherie Wells as the facilitator of that process. She has done an awesome job in the process.
Any questions for Ms. Gibbs on the report? Okay, thank you, Ms. Gibbs. And thanks to all the committee chairs and committee liaisons for all your hard work during the year. And that's where a lot of the work happens, actually, in committee. It's not necessarily here at the board table. So I can't thank you all enough. And as you know, community partners. First of all, I must thank our direct reports, Internal Auditor Smith, Treasurer Bahork, and of course, Interim Superintendent Stanford for their hard work and dedication during 2018. Excuse me. As the board governs, you three manage the operations of the district. I must also thank our teachers, administrators, and staff for continuing to make Court City Schools the amazing place it is to work and learn. You are the ones having the most direct impact on the lives of our students and families, and for that we're grateful. From our first meeting in January, we've remained true to our shared vision that the district be a world-class model of public education that prepares members of our communities to reach their full potential. Together, we've strived to create an environment that supports academic achievement, continuous improvement, and lifelong learning. We continue to govern with integrity with a focus on academic achievement, demonstrating compassion, respect, and trust, value, community engagement, and empowerment. Over these past 12 months, this body has come together for 59 meetings, both regular and special, plus another 39 committee meetings. We've approved more than 850 resolutions, contracts, recognitions, recommendations, schools, identified a new superintendent to lead the district, and advocated for consistent, equitable graduation requirements for our students. We saw the departure of two of our members. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Dominic Peretti and Mary Jo Hudson for their service to the district. We'd also like to thank Brian Stewart for serving on an interim basis while we worked to appoint James Ragland to the board. We started the year working to right-size our long-term financial picture after the state once again shortchanged our students through the imposition of arbitrary funding caps. We took a projected deficit of $224 million in FY22 and through bold, challenging, and often difficult actions, reversed that trend to result in a projected positive cash balance. transition from high school student to high school graduate is one of the most significant, representing the culmination of the student's primary and secondary educational career. I'm proud of the actions this board took to advocate for an equitable solution for the class of 2019 and 20, allowing those students additional opportunities to show that they are in fact prepared for college or career or whatever comes next for them. We will continue to call for a long-term solution to the state's ever-changing graduation requirements, as well as a solution for the class of 2021. And I know, or I believe, that we will also continue to advocate for a constitutional funding model in a way for the state to evaluate district performance that represents true measures of our students, teachers, staff successes. Finally tonight, I would be remiss if I did not end this reflective look back by talking about the hard work of our interim superintendent, Dr. John Sanford. In some ways, he's been a mentor to me during this time. And I want to personally thank Dr. Stanford for his leadership throughout this year of transition across our communities and in selfless service to the students who represent the future of this great city. As we look ahead, and I'm almost done, the sustainable positive trajectory in Columbus City Schools will set the stage for our next stories of success in 2019, to be written as our new superintendent, Dr. Dixon, takes the helm of Ohio's largest school district. Colleagues, you have advanced that shared vision and have put this district on the path to being the world-class model of public education we all want. And it's in the faces and stories of our 50,000 students that I see young people ready to reach their full potential. Thank you, and I'd like to offer each of you a brief opportunity to share the final words you might have, but also to share your gratitude with Dr. Stanford as he prepares to complete his term as our interim superintendent. So, and let's give Dr. Stanford another round. Years, I think they've been around and have been dedicated to helping children in this community, so I couldn't, I don't know how to say thank you enough. I gave money out the window a couple times, but that's small. I also want to thank Director Johnson for her ongoing participation, not just at meetings, but also your advocacy on behalf of our students at City Hall. And in fact, when Tina, our secretary in the board office, she said, you want, we said it for all 4 direct reports, right? I said, I said, she doesn't work for us anymore. And she said, well, it sure seems like she does. So you have a plan set up with the other 3 direct reports. So thank you so much for your ongoing service. Any other announcements before we prepare to hear a motion from the Vice President? Yes, Mr. Brown.
Now, I do have one, and I know it's year end, and it's a time to be thankful for all that we've Ohio's efforts to do that. And report that was issued yesterday was very bothersome. This was issued by the Institute for Social Research at the University of Michigan, called Monitoring the Future, and it talked about vaping by teenagers. And I suspect everybody's heard something in the media already, because this is getting a lot of attention, and it should. The information that they're reporting by looking at high school students is that vaping use has increased tremendously, even over the past year, consistent with the CDC that's also studied. Take a look at and see what we're going to do. I think we must do something. One of the things I'm going to bring to the Policy Review Committee in the morning is to take a look at our tobacco policy. I know it has a little bit of language that covers inhaling, but it's not as clear and as broad as it needs to be to address this kind of subject. So, I just want to make sure that we're all aware the report itself is readily available, and as well as the CDC data, and NIDA, the National Institute on Drug Abuse, has also got good information. 20 years ago, when we settled the tobacco litigation against so it's a little bit longer than what I typically do, but this one is very bothersome.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Would you mind just forwarding that study just to board members? I know it's easy to get, but I appreciate that.
I'll do that.
Thank you. Board Member Gibbs?
But to your point, Board Member Brown, if you're looking at that, I'm not sure if the impact or what, in your review, as you're looking at vaping, but the impact of medicinal marijuana, and ultimately maybe what recreational would do, but I don't think it would hurt us to start looking at those policies now in terms of students and staff use, what that does for our policies concerning it. But I think to your announcement, I think those type of conversations right now and early on are quite important. And I don't know if both the PRO team will have information, but I know that the Epilepsy Foundation
is not only nicotine. At times it's marijuana. At times it's other substances that can be inhaled or heated and inhaled. And it's will lead to death. It's just not.
Thank you. Any other announcements or points of pride? Yes, Ms. Gibbs.
Oh, I do. Do you have the flyer for the talent show? On tomorrow, the City of Columbus Department of Neighborhoods is hosting their annual talent show Wednesday, December 19th from 6 to 7:30 at the King Arts Complex. This talent show will feature a number of middle school students from across the city, many of them students in Columbus City Schools, under the leadership of Carter Williams Scott and our amazing team at the City of Columbus. It is a great opportunity to come in to see our students. They worked on it all year, and it's their year-end wrap-up of their programs, and it's a great show. So at the King Arts Complex on tomorrow. So that's one. Next on Thursday, the Columbus Alternative High School will be celebrating its 40th anniversary, 1978 to 2018. It is a cause evening of excellence. Your 40th year is your Ruby anniversary, so put on your Ruby shoes. How attending causes impacted your life. That information is on the website. And finally, as I conclude my report, I thanked a lot of people on the team, but I did not thank Cheryl Ward. I don't know if she's still here, but Cheryl led our restorative practices work and really leads our social and emotional work. Our team is the I Know I Can, the library, Girl Scouts, Impact, Children's Services, and a lot of people that are around our table. All the fraternities and sororities are there, but Cheryl Ward is also an integral part of helping us keep that work in sync and keep that work alive. So I didn't want to walk away without thanking her and our entire team. My year-end reflection is with Merriam-Webster's announcement. They have a word of the year, and this year's word was justice. It was justice. And respect was also on their list. And as we talk about the justice as their word of the year, I thank everybody who brings social justice to the educational community, to our work, to understanding that everyone deserves justice. To come back January restored and happy. You have a right to cry when you need to and a right to laugh when you need to. It's our job to work, but it's also our job to take time to give to our families. We give a lot at the table, and y'all give a lot sitting here looking at us. And we're looking at you. And we all know that right now all of us are away from our families, but in the spirit of justice, I hope that we make our decisions, our discernment, and our work reflect the spirit and all that it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gibbs. Any other announcements or points of pride this evening? Board Member Reyes.
Thank you, President Baker. I just wanted to, I was able to attend the Harmony Project event a couple weeks back that highlighted our South High School students It's just amazing. It was thousands of people singing in unity about a lot of those things, about love, about getting along, about succeeding, and about not being lonely, and about all those things that a lot of our neighbors, our kids are maybe going through these holiday seasons. So I also want to echo, I think, Dr. Stanford stating that there are a lot of resources out there for our kids and our parents who may need a little bit of help over this holiday season. I'd be remiss as a director of a community center that has a food pantry, not to say there's food, there's Christmas baskets and all sorts of giveaways from 179 food pantries in Franklin County, Toys for Tots and the Sheriff's Office, and please reach out to your teachers, reach out to our administration. Our next meeting. So just want to say that to my colleagues the same. Thank you. It's a joy. It's hard, but I still have to see you for probably another hour. But happy holidays, and we'll see you in the new year.
And I'll share one last thing before I entertain a motion from the Vice President. This is in response to a question from Board Member Ragland earlier. So the elementary school fair is February 7th, and this is for anyone who might be hearing my voice. Elementary school fair, February 7th, with the backup date in case of weather or whatever is the 18th. Applications, lottery applications due February 4th through March 29th. High school, middle school fair, January 17th.